Hey everybody, here's a video of how to use the Pro7 Media Sweeper utility that I've coded. Now, the reason I coded this is because ProPresenter 7 can pretty easily fill up a hard drive with all the media files that you add to it. And there's really no good way to figure out what you really need or what ProPresenter is even using. So this utility helps you figure that out and helps clean off your computer with all those extra videos that are no longer needed that ProPresenter doesn't even know about anymore. I'm running on here an earlier release, the release candidate number 5. There is a new release available that I've just released, version 2.0. Earlier versions, the 1.0 versions, it's a long story, but that was Windows only. It was my first go around at this, but 2.0 is vastly improved. It supports both Windows and Mac. To get the new version, I'm going to show you how to download and install that. There's no installation necessary. If there's an available update, it will show you that up here in the upper right-hand corner. You just click on that, and it'll bring you directly to the download page on GitHub for this. It shows you some of the release notes. And towards the bottom here, there's assets. There's the Mac version and the Windows version. I'm going to download the Windows version. Here's the first thing you just got to watch out for a little bit. Depending on your browser, I'm using Google Chrome here. It shows you a warning that this could be dangerous. I'm going to click on keep that so it doesn't throw it away. And then I'm done. So now that I've downloaded it, I'm going to close out of my earlier version. I'm going to go to my downloads. And here's that earlier version that I was using before. I'm going to delete that. And here's what I just downloaded. I'm just going to extract that. And there is no installation necessary. You can just download it, extract it from the zip archive, and just run it. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to run it. And on Windows at least, Mac will do something similar. It's going to protect your PC because I'm not a recognized developer. If you click on more info here, it says publisher, unknown publisher. But after you're clicking on that, you can select run anyway. That's what I'm going to do here. Once you do that, you'll never have to do that again unless you re-download it. Once you open the program, it's basically automatic. It automatically detects the default media folder that ProPresenter uses. I'll go into some more details about that later, but if you're using the Manage Media Automatically option, which I'll go into later, this is the default. If you don't use that Manage Media Automatically, you might have to change your folder. I'll show you how to do that later. So once this is loaded up, all you got to do is sweep media files. You can just press the button right here. Press the sweep media files button. And it's going to analyze all of the Pro documents in your ProPresenter installation. It's going to analyze all the playlists in there, your media bin, the audio bins, whatever. It's going to figure out what files that ProPresenter is referencing in there. And once it does that, it's going to look in this media folder and see which ones aren't being used. And anything that's not being used, it's just going to move to a different folder where you can review that. So in my case here, it's moved 98 files have been moved to this location here. I'm just going to click OK. I'll just minimize this for now. I'm going to go to there. Where it moves them to is going to be your user directory. And it's going to do two things. I have an old sweep log here. I'm going to delete that for the moment. It's going to create a sweep log text file. And this contains some information about everything that it did, all the media files that it found, everything that it moved, all the Pro documents that all the documents that it analyzed, all the references that were found, and then at the very bottom is what it actually moved. Then the other thing that it does is it moves all those files to the swept files directory here. And the directory structure is maintained. You can review exactly what it did. But in my case here, I moved all these files that ProPresenter was not using into this folder. That's the basics of using it. Now I'm going to go into a few more details about how some of this works, some tips and tricks. First of all, if something messes up or you didn't want to sweep these files, there's an undo sweep button in this program. So if you click on that undo sweep button, it'll ask you to open a log file. So you just click on the log file that you want to undo. You click open, and it'll tell you what it moved back, and if any errors were encountered along the way. So in my case, the log file had 98 files that were moved, and then it moved all those 98 files back, and I didn't have any errors. So if I go back now to this directory, that directory that with the media files that I had moved is no longer here, but the log file still is. And if I go back to that, let's just do this again. Let's try and move those files back. Now they've already been moved back, so I'm going to get a bunch of errors here. In this case, 98 moved files were found in the log file. It moved 98 files when it made that log file. 0 files were moved back, and I have 98 errors that the source files were not found. So I've already moved those back, and that's why the source files weren't found. Okay, I'm just going to click sweep the media files again. It shows you the progress right here of what it's parsing through, what it's kind of analyzing to find those media files right here. Okay, so that's done. Again, I got, here's the swept files. It made a new sweep log. These last digits here are just a time code of about when you did that. I'm going to delete this previous log here. In a nutshell, that's how to use the Pro7 Media Sweeper. It's super quick, super easy. One tip I have for you is sometimes ProPresenter will corrupt some of its data files. If the Pro7 Media Sweeper finds some of those corrupted files that it cannot properly parse, if they're corrupted, it probably can't open those. It'll skip over those. But a benefit of that is you can go into the log file, and if you search for error, I'm just going to search for the word error, find next, close it out. So here's one where I have the decode error. Error occurred trying to parse, and then it shows you the file that it errored out on here. Sometimes ProPresenter will have some of these corrupted files that can crash ProPresenter, and this could be a good way to find those. I haven't verified that this actually works. Yeah, it could be a good tool to use to find some of those corrupted files and then delete them or recreate them, whatever you need to do. So again, in this case, I've just created a kind of dummy file that just has some random text in it that it's obviously going to fail when it tries to parse that file out. Now I'm going to go into a few more details, just kind of explain what ProPresenter is doing behind the scenes a little bit and how this works. If I open ProPresenter up here, okay, I've got ProPresenter open now. Here is just a sample, some sample playlists that I've been working with, some of the stuff that we use at my church. First thing I want to show you now, earlier when we had the Pro7 Media Sweeper app open, there was this media folder to sweep here. And in my case here, it automatically finds the default media folder that ProPresenter uses. And that setting is in Preferences, Advanced. So if you go to the Advanced tab in your Preferences, for one thing, Support Files. Support Files is where all of your ProPresenter information is stored. So all of your libraries, your playlists, even your screen configurations, props, masks. Now you can have different support files, which I've kind of done here. I'm using this ProPresenter Sweeper demo just to go through some of this stuff. If I go to my documents here, I have a few different, I've got a special character test. Here's a ProPresenter, that's when you first install ProPresenter. That's what's going to be there by default. It's just going to be under Documents, ProPresenter. Now you can switch back and forth between these, and I do that a lot during testing this out and stuff. So you could have different venues, completely different setups, and change back and forth on your support files here. The thing I really want to look at here is this Manage Media Automatically option here. By default, that Manage Media Automatically option is checked when you install ProPresenter. And what that means, what Manage Media Automatically means, is ProPresenter is going to copy any media file that you bring into it, anything that you drag into it. ProPresenter is going to copy that into that folder that I just showed you here. So it's going to copy it into a folder underneath the support files folder called media. If I go there a second, let's see here. Go there, my documents, ProPresenter demo, media. So it has assets, downloads, and import in here. Most of the media is going to be under assets. Now, every time you bring something into ProPresenter, it's going to copy that media into this assets folder. So if you download a video, for example, it's in your downloads folder, you bring that into ProPresenter. If you have this option checked, it's just going to copy that media file into that directory. Now, if you do not have that checked, it's not going to copy that folder, that media file, into that ProPresenter's default media directory. It's just going to use it where it is on your computer. So if you downloaded a video, then put it into ProPresenter, and then if you deleted that video, ProPresenter wouldn't be able to find it, and it would be lost forever. So that's why I have this option here to change folder. So if you put all your media if you have this option unchecked and you put all of your media into a separate folder on your computer that you kind of manage yourself, you can still use this, my sweeper program here, to figure out what in that folder is being actively used in ProPresenter and what's not. So, and once you figure that out, maybe you want to keep some of that stuff and you put it back. You can restore those files just by copying them back if you want to. Okay, so I hope that clears up a little bit about how ProPresenter manages its media. If you don't sweep this out, the files in ProPresenter they'll just never get deleted. Especially if you drag videos and media into ProPresenter without adding it to the media bin. So, for instance, if I would just delete this slide out here, it's going to, I can just delete this slide. Deleting that slide did not delete the media item. The media file is still in that folder. There's really no good way to figure out what you have deleted unless you kind of dig into ProPresenter, which takes a very long time. It's a little bit different in media bins. In your media bin, I'm going to go down here to my media bin at the bottom here. When you select delete here, you have two options. Well, three options actually. You can cancel it. You can move to trash, or you can delete queues. Now, moving to trash will delete that from your disk. So it'll be gone from your disk. It'll be wiped out there. But if you delete queues, it's not going to delete it from your disk. It's deleted it from ProPresenter. ProPresenter no longer knows where it's at and does not reference that file, but it's still on your hard drive. Okay, now the last thing I want to show you, how to identify what happens if something goes wrong, a media file gets deleted when it shouldn't have, or so you lose references to those media files. So what I'm going to do is, there's this countdown here. I'm going to go into here and go inspector just to find it. Okay, here's that file for this countdown here. I'm just going to cut that file, stick it on my desktop for the moment. Well, I can't because ProPresenter is using it at the moment, probably. If I close ProPresenter out, let's try that again. Let's cut that. Paste. Okay, so now I've gotten rid of that media file. ProPresenter is not going to be able to find it. So I'm going to open ProPresenter up again here. Okay, now I've opened ProPresenter up, and I get an error message here that it cannot find that countdown media file that I just deleted or moved to my desktop. So if I click on it, you'll see nothing happens in my output here, and I get this question mark over top of it. So whenever you see this question mark, it means ProPresenter can't find whatever file that it's looking for there, and it won't play it, or it won't show it on your output either. You still do see some thumbnails there. ProPresenter manages thumbnails a little bit differently. It generates those thumbnails and then stores it in a temporary directory. So you will still see the thumbnails, but you will not see it in your output there. Now, if I would close out ProPresenter again here, let's just restore this. I can cut that. Go back to my media folder. Paste that back in. Now, if I open ProPresenter back up again, now I don't have that question mark there. I can click on it, and the media does display on my screen. So that's just a warning sign or something to look out for if you're managing your media. Hopefully, God forbid, my Pro7 Media Sweeper doesn't move media files that it shouldn't. If it does, please let me know. You can go to the GitHub web page and let me know, submit an issue there for that. There is, if you hover over top of this icon here and click on that, it'll bring you to the wiki page on GitHub for this program. So about Pro7 Media Sweeper. It'll show you some information there. I probably have to update it. Thank you very much. Again, if you have any issues, please let me know. Just submit an issue on GitHub here. And thank you.